Hello and welcome to everybody who's joining us today for AVTE's webinar on inspirational continuing education for developing careers and retaining vet techs in practice. We have with us today Dr. Charlotte French and Carly Seymour from Improve International. They're interested in talking to you about what things they offer, but also about your feedback and what you'd like to see for your students and where you think the direction's going. I'll certainly, Dr. French had much better words of saying it. But definitely we want this to be a conversation and a collaboration on the education of all our vet techs. So definitely, if you've got a question, raise your hand, drop a comment in the chat, and we'd like to cover it all. I will turn it over to you, Dr. French.
Fantastic. Thanks, Lisa. Hi, everyone. As I say, just want to say how excited we are to be here today. As you can probably tell from my accent, I'm not from the US, but in fact, I actually flew back from the US 2 days ago. I was actually over in Colorado at IVEX, which was fantastic. It was great to be over there. We actually partner with VEX with respect to our emergency medicine programs, and it was lovely. Met lots of obviously vets and vet techs there, and it was fantastic. And afterwards I did a bit of hiking in the Rockies, which was really exciting. Saw lots of moose and elk. So that's my little story for the week. But yeah, I am based in the UK, and I'm a vet myself. I actually live just outside Cambridge in the UK. And it's so great to be here with respect to being able to have the opportunity to, I suppose, share our passion for education, and really to sort of get some feedback and input from yourselves in terms of your thoughts on postgraduate education for vet techs, and actually for the whole vet teams in general, because you'll see that what we offer and what we work on and deliver is postgraduate. So it's for obviously certified qualified vet techs. We have got a little presentation because we are very excited to sort of tell you about what we do, and the types of courses that we offer. But as I say, also we really want to come at it from the point of view of what CE is really useful in clinic for vet techs, and how can we sort of support and encourage through lifelong learning veterinary technicians to achieve their goals within their careers, but also to stay in clinic, to stay practicing, because we're very much aware, obviously, as I'm sure you are, that globally recruitment and retention of the whole veterinary team, in particular vet techs in the US, but nurses in the UK, is a real issue. And certainly at Improve International, we very much see lifelong learning and CE as a really a key tool in terms of sort of recruitment and retention. So just really quickly, a little bit about myself. Our business is called Improve International. I'm Charlotte French. I am a vet. I qualified from Cambridge too long ago now to mention. I worked in practice for many years, more latterly in shelter medicine. And then about 10 years ago, I moved into education in terms of teaching and training veterinary nurses, both at diploma level and degree level. As you're probably aware, in the UK, in terms of qualifying as vet nurse, you can either complete a diploma or you can do a full degree. And I taught at a college known as the College of Animal Welfare, which is potentially, I think, perhaps the biggest provider of certification training for vet nurses in the UK. I then moved 3 years ago to my position at Improve International, where I am currently head of business development for the UK and the USA, but still sort of very much involved in and passionate about quality and integrity of academic delivery. So perhaps if I can just hand over to my colleague Carly now. Carly, over to you.
Hi, my name's Carly. I've been a bit of background for me. So I've been a veterinary nurse for nearly 20 years. I have worked in a variety of industries, from education to general practice to emergency centres to referral specialist centres. 4 years ago, I also achieved the veterinary technician specialist status in anaesthesia and analgesia, so was lucky enough to go to Washington to sit the exam and do some sightseeing there as well. And I started working for ISVPS alongside Improve International about 4 months ago, so fairly new to the company, but I've learned a lot just working alongside Charlotte and all the other great veterinary professionals and non-veterinary professionals really that work for Improve and ISVPS.
Fantastic. Thanks, Carly. So I think what I mean, I'm really happy, open to sort of suggestions, but what we sort of thought we'd love to do is to just have a little presentation on what we do. But I would really encourage everybody, please, to jump in. I mean, as Lisa said, you know, pop your questions in the chat box, because you know, I'm very aware that this is sort of supposed to be a bit of a chat, but was aware that obviously you probably haven't even heard of us. Actually, I'd just be interested to know, has anyone heard of us? Improve International, is that something that you are at all aware of? Has anyone come across us in their past lives? Please raise your hand if so. It looks like it's a bit of a sort of tumbleweed. And that doesn't surprise me. I mean, we have actually been, as a business, we have actually been operating in the USA now for about 3 years. And thanks, Tara. But this is, you know, this is the reason that we really would like to sort of tell you obviously what we do, because without knowing what we do, it's very difficult for you to get any idea of context. So I will, as I say, please do jump in, pop your questions in the chat box, because we would love to, you know, answer them as we go along. Or obviously we can wait until the end and then have a bit of a discussion. Let's see sort of how it goes really in terms of timing, because I know you're all very busy people. So I will attempt to share my screen. Let's share and just see if that works. There we go. That seems to be working. And then I need to get it onto slideshow from the beginning. There. Is that working for you, Carly? Can you see it?
Yeah, perfect.
Fantastic. So, as I say, we've had a little introduction to both of ourselves. We are Improve International, and as Carly has already mentioned, Carly's side of the business, if you like, is our awarding body, which is the International School of Veterinary Postgraduate Studies. And we'll explain a little bit more about that as we go through. But the ISVPS is essentially what Carly was referring to when she was obviously introducing herself. And we're just going to talk a little bit, as I say, about our veterinary technician professional training and qualifications. But as I say, just to highlight that the qualifications that we provide are for qualified vet techs. So the Improve group is sort of made up, I always think of us as a bit like an octopus. We've sort of got 4 arms, if you like. Improve veterinary education, which I'm involved with. We create the materials, we create the programs, and we deliver them. Improve International official vet training. In the UK, we are actually responsible for teaching and training all of the official vets, the government vets. So that's quite a big part in the UK of our, if you like, our CE. Then we've got ISVPS, which Carly will be telling you more about in a little bit. And then we also have our arm, which is veterinary practice. Now, veterinary practice is our global online platform. I sort of would liken it a little bit to sort of clinician's brief, in that it's a global online platform that is, it's a subscription model, but in fact, at the moment, vets and vet techs can actually sign up to it for free. And on there is lots of CE, there is lots of interesting, you know, sort of newsletters, there is going to be a jobs board on there. So that's sort of, if you like, another arm of the business. But today we're going to be focusing on letting you know about what we do to improve veterinary education and what we do at with ISVPS, because that's the education, that's what you're going to be interested in, is the education side. And we just looked at, you know, our missions really, and actually it was really nice. I mean, Carly had a really good look at, and we both did, at the mission statement of AVTE as well. And I think our mission statements actually fit in really nicely. So our mission basically at Improve International is to encourage ongoing professional growth through high quality, innovative and accessible digitally led veterinary education resources and qualifications. And we just thought that really sort of resounded nicely with the AVTE mission statement, particularly in terms of promoting quality professional education. We're both very passionate about that and dedicated to facilitating lifelong learning and professional development. And, you know, we're all, as educators, that's what we're all about, isn't it, really? So over to you, Carly, in terms of just a little bit of an overview of ISVPS, if that's okay.
Yeah, so ISVPS, as I say, I'm fairly new to the company, but I've learned so much just working here for the last few months, and it's been really interesting. So ISVPS was established 20 years ago now, so 2003, and we work across 16 countries worldwide. So as Charlotte said, our job is to award the certificates at the end. So we accredit the courses that are delivered by the training providers. So ISVPS are accrediting courses that are then delivered by Improve. And ISVPS has a approved pool of speakers, which the training providers can use. And the speakers are involved throughout the learning process, which Charlotte will touch on a bit later in the talk as well. And then we're responsible also for doing the assessment and the examination process. So we're sort of always there, I feel like, in the background, supporting Improve to make sure that we're delivering the best courses that we can.
So just a bit more about, you know, what do we actually do? So we have Improve International has actually been, we were established in the UK in 1998 out of the Royal Veterinary College. And from there, we've sort of spread across Europe, across Asia. We deliver courses, as I've said, in the USA. We're really growing very rapidly in the USA. But really pretty much all over the world, we are delivering programs and courses to vets, vet techs, and also to a certain extent, sort of the supportive team. We're developing our programs for veterinary receptionists as well. So really sort of providing that CE training all around the world. I would say most, I suppose at the moment, brand awareness and recognition is greatest within Europe, but as I say, it is sort of building certainly within the USA. And we deliver high quality race approved CE. We deliver education in all the clinical disciplines for the vet techs. We've got a little list for you later on. And we also, obviously, we provide training for vets as well. We use all of the different types of learning. So we have online, and that certainly is particularly popular, certainly from the conversations that I had with vet techs at IVEX just literally last week. Online learning, as we know, over the pandemic, that has been absolutely, you know, essential to continued education and any education at all. The types of online learning that we deliver are very interactive, very engaging. We also deliver face-to-face, more didactic, I suppose, teaching, and also blended. So because we cannot get away, can we, from our profession in terms of the clinical skills and the hands-on practical training. So we really have the whole, if you like, gamut of different types of learning, so that people to a certain extent can choose the way that they want to learn. All of our programs are delivered by key opinion leaders, board specialists in the US, and diploma holders, obviously European diploma holders. So we really do work with a fantastic team of speakers and content authors, you know, globally, which is a fantastic part of the job, obviously interfacing with those specialists. Over to you, Carly.
Yeah, so this is a list of the courses that we deliver. So for veterinary nurses and veterinary technicians, there's a real variety across different subject areas. You can see from the list there without me reading out all the individual ones. And then we are starting to deliver advanced veterinary nurse and technician programs now as well, because our candidates that have already completed courses are then looking to build on their existing knowledge and experience, so wanting to go a little bit further and develop more professionally. So there is a demand for the advanced courses, which builds already on the knowledge that they've learned in the first instance. The courses are really popular, certainly in the UK. We have almost 400, it's actually 399 candidates this year alone that have signed up for the courses. Anaesthesia and ECC being the most popular courses, and therefore we tended to follow through with the advanced certificates based on the ones that are the most popular choices for the nurses and the vet techs. And as I said, that tends to be anaesthesia and ECC, but also surgical and medical nursing as well. So that's where the advanced certificates come in. And again, the anaesthesia is particularly popular with people signing up already, even though it's a very new course. And then the ECC, surgical and medical, are coming probably early to mid next year, so 2024. So that's really exciting for us.
Thanks, Carly. And I'd just add there, so this is what we're best known for, I suppose. I would say, well, definitely this is what we're best known for. So modular certificate programs. So these are programs that will essentially give the vet techs obviously more post-nominals. They will have their certificate in their veterinary technician certificate in one of the disciplines. They're delivered, when I say modular, they're delivered over a period of time. So this is a certificate that takes about a year to achieve in total. The delivery time of the teaching is over 8 months, and then you know, essentially then obviously there's a bit of a break for revision and, you know, catch up, and then obviously the assessments which Carly delivers with ISVPS. And the way the programs work, and I'm going to sort of focus mostly on with the online programs, because those are certainly the most popular with the vet techs, is that they're delivered monthly. So they're delivered in modules that last for a month. So each month will obviously have its own learning outcomes. It will have its own specialist running alongside, acting as a remote mentor. So the vet techs can be asking questions about their learning, about cases that, you know, nursing cases that they're seeing in their clinic. They can also interface with their peers via forums. And essentially there are 3 lessons per week, which are delivered with videos accompanying videos with the speakers. And then in the final week of the month, there are reflective nursing cases. So there are cases for the vet techs to work through, answer questions, make notes, and then this is all formatively assessed as well as you go through. So there's lots of, you know, every single lesson has questions at the end of it for basically the student to reflect on their learning. So there's a lot of reflection and reflection on practice, which is really obviously very valuable. As I've already said, all delivered and created by either specialist vets or specialist vet techs, specialist vet nurses who you know, obviously have done further sort of training as they've gone through their careers. So we have our certificate programs and we have advanced certificate programs, so that if a vet tech has a particular interest, let's say in anaesthesia, which, as Carly said, is our most sort of popular discipline currently, they can do their vet tech certificate in anaesthesia, and then they can move on and do their advanced vet tech certificate in anaesthesia. So creating that sort of, if you like, that way of them sort of being able to progress their careers and build their skills and knowledge in clinic and really sort of achieve their goals. Now, not only do we have the certificates and the advanced certificates, oh, sorry, didn't mean to do that. How do I go back? Here we go. We also have foundation certificates. So if you like, the vet techs can start to choose you know, the site types of areas that they're really interested in. So they may be particularly interested, say, in anesthesia, but as we know, you know, the world is a constantly changing place, and having additional skills that are maybe not necessarily directly clinical can be really, really useful. So we have developed certificates which are called foundation certificates in topics such as pet bereavement, business management, communication skills. So these can also be completed and sort of, if you like, added on to that whole sort of career development strategy for the vet tech, and also to give that benefit back to the clinic and back to the team. I've talked a little bit about the online training, but as I say, in the US, we do deliver short day courses as well, which are perhaps, other than obviously the VTS qualifications, perhaps more what vet techs are used to in the US, which is the 1 or 2 day hands-on courses. And just as an example, I mean, we do a whole range, but certainly we've got planned for early next year in the USA, practical hematology and cytology, and also ultrasound courses. So this is obviously where the vet techs will come for a day or 2 days, and they will actually do the hands-on training and complete their course. I would just mention that as well as the certificate programs, we have other shorter online programs, which are the types of programs that very often people maybe want to complete prior to starting a full certificate if they haven't heard of us before and they're not quite sure what the training's like. And we have actually, just to mention, we've developed a whole series of short online courses with Cambridge University in the UK, with their specialists, which are also open to vet techs to join if they want to, in things like brachycephalic nursing, oncology, equine oncology, cardiology, and neurology. So hopefully you can see we have got a huge range of, if you like, opportunities and options for vet techs who want to progress their careers, that want to progress their education, obviously beyond their certification. I've just popped this in here because this just gives you some photos of some of our wet lab facilities, as I've said, with the courses and with the short 1 or 2 day or 3 day courses. What we're also doing, I would mention, with our vet tech certificate programs, is we are offering optional add-on practical days. So for those vet techs, let's say in surgical nursing, we will give them the option that if they would like to, they can come for 1 or 2 days and actually do some hands-on suturing or whatever is appropriate to them, depending on the region that they're working in. That means that they can achieve the certificate fully online, but if they do want to have those additional days, then they can add them on. And where we deliver our practicals out of, we deliver them from the University of California, the Irvine Institute on the West Coast. And we also have a practical facility that we work with on the East Coast in Miami. So again, vet techs can choose where they want to go to in terms of doing those practical hands-on skills. This is just some photos of our brand new facilities that we've just opened in Frankfurt and Madrid. So if anyone fancies having a little holiday in Madrid, coming over and visiting us, please do. We'd love to show you around. Plus also in the UK, we have 2 facilities, one in Swindon, which is sort of to the west of London, and one in Sheffield, which is a bit further north. But again, if anyone is ever over here, please do, give us a call, because we would love you, as fellow educators, we would love to show you our facilities, and hopefully take you out for a meal as well. So I think I'll hand over to you, Carly, just in a second, but hopefully I really wanted to sort of touch on this, because this is something that I feel very passionately about. It's about giving people that opportunity to develop the so-called T-shaped skill set. So this is I'm sure this is a phrase that you've heard of, before, or if you're like a theory that you've heard of before, which is the opportunity for professionals such as ourselves to develop that deep understanding in one area. So let's say for me, I might be particularly interested in anesthesia. So I come to Improve International and I say, this is what I love. I love anesthesia. What can I do to develop my career in this discipline? So I might choose, obviously, to do the veterinary technician certificate in anesthesia. That takes me about a year. Fantastic. I get my certificate, which obviously shows employers the level that I've reached in terms of anesthesia. And I then move on to my advanced anesthesia. Fantastic. But as we know, and I've already touched on, in clinic, there are other skills that we may well need, such as being able to discuss, the very difficult issues around euthanasia. I might want to sort of improve my communication skills. I might certainly want to, if I'm thinking about maybe becoming a clinic owner, have knowledge and skills in finance, in business management. So this is where I believe that our opportunities and what we're offering really gives vet techs that opportunity to develop that T-shaped skill set, which is so valuable, not only as, personally in my career, but also so valuable for businesses and for the clinics themselves. So if I could hand over to you now, Carly.
Yeah, so just wanted to discuss the benefits of doing a qualification with ISVPS and Improve. So you would achieve a recognised qualification from ISVPS, and there would be the ability to improve your knowledge, skills and confidence. And there's some points when I looked at the NAVTA survey, which is similar to a survey that the RCVS run in the UK for veterinary nurses, and NAVTA do the survey for vet techs. And there was some feedback that nurses and vet techs don't feel as confident, or they don't feel that colleagues have confidence in their skills. So by improving your knowledge and skills, and hopefully improving confidence as well, and then changing your approach to clinical cases. And I can talk sort of firsthand that when I've learned from doing continued education, that things are easier to apply in your practical day-to-day work, and you have a better understanding, and you do feel better about the care that you're delivering to your patients. And that's really the major reason that veterinary technicians and veterinary nurses tend to do CE, and it's because they do want to deliver a better standard of care to their patients, or the best care that they can give to their patients, and also to network with like-minded professionals. So as I said, we've had 399 candidates alone that have signed up to our vet tech and vet nurse courses this year, and we've had even more that are current certificate holders. So we've also got those specialists that are giving continued support. So you are networking with lots of other veterinary professionals that are also wanting to develop professionally. And because of the way that the courses are structured, and because the majority are online, then you can fit the learning around your career as well. So it's very difficult when you're working long hours and busy days to sort of commit to education, but this allows you to pick it up easily and access it easily as well. Next slide, please.
Yeah.
So the requirements for the veterinary technician certificates are different to other certificates. So there's not a lengthy application process. I've done the VTS myself, as I said, and I know that it's a year-long application process alone, collecting case logs, case reports, that sort of thing. And once that application's in, you still don't have a guaranteed place to sit the exam. And actually, in all honesty, I didn't first time round, and I had to do a second application, which is starting from scratch and is a whole additional year worth of work to then be able to sit the exam. So, and it's a completely different way of learning as well. As Charlotte said, the courses are modular and they're really well structured. So you just need to be a credentialed veterinary technician. And again, from the NAVTA survey, 84% of veterinary technicians or people working as veterinary technicians in the States are credentialed, whether it's registered, licensed or certified. And you have to be working in a practice, so you still need to collect a case diary, so you need to be exposed to clinical cases to be able to do that. So you don't need to fulfill really intensive criteria. So you don't need to be, for example, working solely in anaesthesia and having to do so many hours of anaesthesia before you can even apply, and you don't have to be working with a specialist. So you almost get your specialist in the form of your course mentor at Improve, because, as Charlotte said, they are specialists in the area that they're teaching. So that's where your sort of teaching from a specialist comes from. We almost deliver that mentor to you as well. So you don't have to have that person in your workplace necessarily. And you also don't need a letter of recommendation from a specialist. So if you aren't working alongside specialists, then you wouldn't be able to get that letter of recommendation. So the criteria for application is easier, so it's more accessible for people that really do want to have continuing education.
Yeah, and I think, can I just add there, Carly, because I think we sort of obviously sort of that was a lot of questions that I actually had at IVEX from VetTechs, is obviously what's the difference between your qualification and the VTS, and obviously, you know, different depending on how one wants to learn and how one, you know, one thing's going to be right for one person and one thing's going to be right for another. And I think that's why we're sort of here today, is to really sort of, it's great to be able to sort of let people know about that, you know, the other opportunities that may be open to them and that might maybe suit them, you know, in different ways. So yeah, I think it's an interesting sort of discussion around obviously the differences and what might appeal to one person may not to the other.
And on this slide, the courses are ISVPS accredited that are delivered by Improve. So it's just basically saying that we offer a high standard, and it's a standardized standard, and it is an internationally recognized award. So again, we've mentioned that we have specialists within those areas that are assisting throughout the course process, whether it's with the syllabi or the assessment or the examination or the course delivery itself. So we're always ensuring that we are delivering courses that are up to date and are delivering consistent and standardized information. So the assessments for the awards that are designed by ISVPS. So for the veterinary technician certificate, there's a online applied knowledge exam, which is called an OKI. These are really interesting exams in themselves, actually, because they involve lots of different aspects. So much like people learn in different ways, people are assessed in different ways. So it's not just multiple choice questions. We do have multiple choice questions, you can see, but there's also other opportunities for people to be assessed. So the online applied knowledge exam, which we call an OKI, involves moving sort of blocks into tables, highlighting images, identifying images. So there's lots of different areas that are pulled into that exam. And then there is a written assessment. And then with the advanced certificates, we have the case logs. So much like the VTS, you have to fulfill a case log requirement and a skills list, and the multiple choice questions again. And the final assessment is a literature review. So it's quite a variety of assessments from ISVPS. So the awards, mentioned a couple of times that we've had nearly 400 candidates sign up alone this year. So over 1,300 are ISVPS qualification holders that are veterinary nurses or veterinary technicians, and over 8,000 veterinary professionals from around the world have achieved an ISVPS veterinary qualification. And it's growing all the time. We have more nurses and more technicians signing up to the courses year after year. So that's really positive, because well, we have a good reputation, and obviously word of mouth, and certainly from working in the clinical environment as well, and managing teams of veterinary nurses in the past. I know that my veterinary nurses that I've worked with have always been really keen to undertake the improved courses because they have got a good reputation. And then there's the ISVPS register of certificate holders that's online. So again, much like when you achieve a VTS award, your name is put onto a register, depending on what academy that you're with. And with the ISVPS, we also have a register that's online, so people can look up once you've achieved your award. And that has all of our award certificate holders on there. So who is part of ISVPS? There's a sort of real variety of people, veterinary professionals like myself, and also non-veterinary professionals tend to have education backgrounds. So there is an academic board which is made up of 10 veterinary professionals that are specialists within their clinical subject areas, and they are veterinary professionals from across the world as well. So they oversee the assessment and examination processes, and they scrutinise that vigorously, so that we ensure again that our assessments are a high standard and that they are consistent and up to date. And then we have our head of exams and qualifications that oversees the academic team, and we have an academic manager, and both with strong education backgrounds. So the academic team, I'm a member of the academic team and line managed by the academic manager, who is very knowledgeable and wonderful. And we also have exam delivery specialists and exam advisors. So as I say, the examination and assessment criteria is really heavily scrutinised by a whole team of people from education and veterinary background to make sure everything is the best it can be, and always reviewed to ensure that they are really high standard. And this is just an example of one of the exams, and I know when I came to ISVPS, I was really impressed by the exams that they had online. I hadn't seen such sort of interactive exams before. I sat normally pen and paper exams in the past. Charlotte, does it play the video for?
Yes. I mean, we thought as sort of fellow educators, you'd be interested to see, you know, some of our assessments. So let's hope it works.
So this is an example of, one of the, I think this is one of the veterinary exams, but you can see the content's really variable, and actually the exam process in itself is really interesting, not just the courses that we deliver. So you have sort of drag and drop options, there's images within the exams, there's videos within the exams. As I say, this is one of the vets ones, but we also, for the nurse and the technician ones, we have drop down lists, drag and drops, highlighting areas on images, so that all sort of prompts you from a clinical perspective, because I think when you just have a paper documentation, that's not always an assessment that works for everyone. So we have sort of a variety of assessments rather than just multiple choice questions. So we're sort of trying to integrate different aspects of assessments within our assessment and examination criteria. I think it probably goes on for a little while, so we'll probably go on to the next slide.
Yeah.
This is something I've looked at with regards to the NAVTA survey for veterinary technician profession. And as I said earlier, the UK, the RCVS do a similar survey for veterinary nurses, and I'm always intrigued to see what the feedback is from veterinary nurses and veterinary technicians alike, and how the courses that improve offer really reflect that feedback from veterinary technicians. So we can offer a flexibility with titles. So, for example, because we're worldwide, the certificates are adaptable to veterinary nurses and veterinary technicians. So, for example, I think predominantly the title veterinary technician is used in the States, but from the survey in 2022, 85% of respondents said that they wanted the title nurse rather than technician. So yeah, we can offer flexibility on the title if the title is protected in the future, whether it's veterinary nurse or veterinary technician. I know that in the UK, veterinary nurses are really pushing to protect the veterinary nursing title to get recognition for our profession. And Improve could also offer discounts to AVTE members. So 39% of respondents stated that low salary was the most challenging aspect of their job. And this is a similar feedback from veterinary nurses with the RCVS survey in the UK. And again, we've talked a bit about recruitment and retention and just keeping staff engaged. So there's a high staff turnover in veterinary nurse profession in the UK, and the same as the vet techs in the States. And 16% of respondents stated that high staff turnover was the most challenging aspect of their job. So we can offer group discounts potentially to clinics as well. With regards to offering CE to staff, challenging staff, people that are learning, increased job satisfaction, keeping them engaged, are more likely to stay within the workplace that they're in. And then we said about confidence earlier with regards to the courses will improve skills, confidence and your performance as a veterinary technician. So it's really positive in delivering better patient care, which is the majority of veterinary technicians and veterinary nurses choose to do continuing education because they want to deliver the best care to their patients. So 19% of respondents stated that they were underutilised because of a lack of trust in their skill set. So that comes from colleagues, which is quite disheartening, really, if you don't have the trust of your colleagues. So by doing courses and continuing education, you can try to improve your knowledge, your confidence, and hopefully the confidence that your colleagues have in you as well.
Thanks, Carly. So yeah, I mean, I suppose just to sort of round up a little bit, sort of the take home. So the reason we're here today really is to sort of let you know about the sort of the opportunities that we offer. We, as you can imagine, we do work with colleges and universities also to, bearing in mind the huge amount of material that we have and the huge amounts of different types of courses and different levels of education, in terms of sort of working with other educators, you know, to build courses with them or for them. That's other, you know, opportunities obviously within AVTE. We would love to collaborate with, you know, with colleagues within training colleges, within universities, as we already do globally, with respect to developing education, either using existing material that we have a lot of, or obviously working on developing new products. The courses, in terms of obviously the certified vet techs, is that they are accessible courses designed and delivered by specialists. With, you know, that's something that ISVPS absolutely, you know, they have to be delivered by, you know, people with the up-to-date knowledge. Gives people to, you know, it gives vet techs the opportunity, and vets, to achieve that, what I suppose the term would be middle tier qualification. So we know that, you know, there are vet techs and there are vets that, you know, the vets, obviously vets that want to be boarded specialists, and that's a whole nother thing, residency, etc. We are by no means suggesting that we are developing, you know, we're producing specialists, because we already have a lot of lovely specialists, and we, you know, we don't need, you know, hundreds of those. What we're aiming at is vet techs who want to stay in clinic, they're confident in what they're doing, and they're really, you know, feeling as though they're contributing to their teams, and that they're they're moving forwards with their careers. And I know what that's like, having been in practice in clinic for so long. You know, you want to feel that you're progressing, you want to feel as though you are valued, and this is a great way. Investing in staff CE is a great way to obviously show them how valued they are. So there's that opportunity to receive that awarded qualification, improve knowledge, confidence and skills, and really improve job satisfaction, and at the end of the day, animal welfare and patient care, which is what we're all about as a profession globally. That's why we do it, I believe. And I think that was sort of what we wanted to sort of say. We would love to get some feedback from people, your thoughts, your ideas, you know, what you've taken from this really. And I've obviously there's our contact details up there, because we're really hoping that we're going to sort of, you know, establish some relationships and move forwards with, even if it's just sort of discussion and sharing of ideas, would be fabulous.
That would be great. And I think if you do get a lot of feedback from it, if people watch the recording, we could always come back and do like a discussion session from it, couldn't we, Charlotte, or something?
Absolutely. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it, especially as it's the end of your day over there in England. Thank you very much.